Hey guys, it's Cal from the Lighting Doctor. We're here in beautiful, just north of Nanaimo, British Columbia, on Vancouver Island, out in Nanoose Bay. We've got a new project that we're working on. Just like anywhere else in North America, the weather back home is really bad, so there's one place in Canada where there is still some nice weather, and we're here and we're installing a lighting system today. We've roughly got about 45-50 lights going on this property. Beautiful ocean views, beautiful landscapes. I'm going to walk you through that, and really we're just using three of the most standard lights that we use in so many of our projects. Is some wash lighting, some up lighting, and some path lighting. We want to show you guys what you can do, which is those three simple lights. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and we're going to walk you through step by step. Thanks for watching. For this project, what we're doing is, I came out, I met with the homeowner last night, and we kind of talked about a plan and went around and picked some areas that we think are going to look really good with different types of lights. And today what we're doing is we're going to go place all our lights, wire all our lights, make sure everything's working, and come back at night and just make any small adjustments, make sure everything is where we want it, and whether we need to add or take away any lights. And I'd recommend with any of your projects, do that. Just set up your lights. You don't have to bury anything permanently, but at least see what it looks like for one night, and then come back and bury everything once you're happy. So that's what we're doing on this project. Like I said, we're using really three different lights. We're using some wash lights, some up lights, and some path lights, and really excited to be using this. It's a new brass wash light from FX Luminaire. Really good quality, really durable, and really well priced for a good brass light. There's a lot of brass lights you can buy on there, but I've just found that a lot of them are very cheap. So I'm glad that FX Luminaire has come out with kind of a new series that fits this need of a really good quality brass light, but at a reasonable cost. So that's what we're going to be using here, and we're going to be using it in a lot of areas like this. So you see this tree behind me is a little bit wider. Just instead of using a typical uplight, this wash light's going to spread that light a little bit wider of an angle and a little bit softer. So we're going to be using it on a lot of trees and shrubs in this property like this, as well as some really nice rock features that they have around the property. So that's where this light is really good for, as well as different stonework. You kind of see the house behind me there. It's got some nice stonework. So that's where we're going to use a light like this, and I recommend in your projects, anytime you have that, a low line shrub or bush, trees like this, some nice stonework, some nice rock faces, it's a really good place to use it. We're also going to be using this in the creek bed, which I'll show you in a bit, which is kind of a cool concept. Hey guys, so once you've got your lights selected, again, the next step is really just going and starting to place your lights where you think they're going to look best. You're going to want to come back at night anyway and see how they look when they're actually lit up. But usually what I do, just to get started, I've got my lights, I've kind of placed them everywhere around the property that I'm going to bury them or place them. Then I grab my shovel, I just dig a small hole so that I can get that ground stake started. And then to make sure it's really secure, especially with a path light, and that's why you guys want to get something that's got a good ground stake. I mean, this is an 8-inch, super durable, super heavy-duty ground stake, and that's why we use stuff like FX Luminaire in all our projects. We get asked all the time, is there other brands out there? And of course there is, but we only offer what I know that I can guarantee and that I've worked with, and that is really good bang for your buck. So that's why we install these, because of little things like that. You just get a super duty ground stake, you get a really durable light, and then I go around and I take my rubber mallet to really make sure I get that light nice and secure, especially for path light, because they are a little bit taller. They're more prone to getting knocked over and stuff, so I want to make sure that's nice and secure. So with my ground stake, I'm just going to pound that in, make sure I get it as level as possible. Take my fixture now and screw it in there, and then I'm going to kind of step back and make sure that it's it's nice and straight, and leave an extra a nice little hole by the light so that I can do all my wiring connections, bury that up, come back at night, see how it looks, and then tomorrow I'll come back and we'll just bury everything. But pretty simple, just get those lights placed, use a rubber mallet. It's going to save you a lot of headache, and to make sure that light gets a lot more durable in the ground. As you can see here in this project, we've used a couple of up lights. We've got a lot of wash lights because we have a lot of lower, wider shrubs that we really want to disperse that light out. But then we do have some nice feature trees all over the property. We've got some where they're really feature tree fruits. We actually got 2 or 3 lights on them, but pretty simple. I mean, these are definitely the most popular, what you see all the time. The biggest mistake I see a lot of people doing is a lot of times they'll put them too close to the tree, and it just creates this big hot spot. If you're trying to light the trunk, you want to have it about 12 to 18 inches back to do that. If it's a tree where you got lots of nice foliage and stuff that you want to highlight, that might be where you got to use 1 or 2 lights and move them further back from the tree and have them shine up in the foliage more. One thing I like to do, if it's a bigger tree like that, I'll actually have 1 light that'll light up the stem like this, and then maybe 1 or 2 lights on the side that will just catch the, you know, the canopy of that tree to really give it some nice light. So on this project, like I said, wash lights, up lights, and then we've also got some path lights, but more to highlight a little bit of paths, but then some nice rock work as well. So here's another example where I'm going to use this wash light. As you see this beautiful rock work behind me, we're going to use this to, again, just put a nice subtle, gentle light on it. That's going to give us a wider beam, so it's going to capture more of this rock, and we're going to get a lot of reflection back down, and we're going to get some, you know, on the nice rhododendrons and different plants that are in here without having to throw a bunch of path lights. It's just, you can get some really good reflection off this, so it's another really good use for a wash light. Hey guys, so the final light that we've chosen in this project is we're using some path lights. So you can see along me, there's a few of them, but we've got them spread out pretty sparsely. I mean, they're roughly about 15 feet. That'll cast lots of light, because what we're using this for is we have a nice retaining rock wall here, and usually I like to use like an undercap light, but because this has already been built and this is kind of an afterthought, without having to rip up the rock wall, we got to find a different way to do that. So we're going to use some path lights to kind of do 2 things. One, it's going to light the garden up a little bit, but then the light's going to kind of cascade over the rock wall. It's going to light this pathway in between the garage and the beds, as well as throw some light down on the wall. We've only got 3 in this long stretch of area, so again, you don't need to have tons of lights. You just gotta place them properly and make the best use. And it's always better off to start with fewer lights, see how it looks, and then you can add on down the road. So that's why we've used path lights, and mainly for this reason in this application. So again, fun project with some path lights, some up lights, and some wash lights, all using them a little bit differently. So at this point, you've probably got all your lights wired up now, and now you want to test them and see if they're going to work. Now obviously you would have selected a transformer first, but I'll walk through a couple quick things there and then just kind of show you how to mount some quick tricks here. So the main thing with a transformer, and I get asked this question probably more than any other, is you just got to make sure it's a big enough transformer to handle the load of lights that you're putting on it. So any light that you buy is going to have a wattage on it. Typically an uplight or a wash light is going to be about 4 or 5 watts, and a path light is going to be around 2.5 watts. So the way to properly size your transformer is basically just add up the wattage of all your lights. So if you've got 10 uplights and they're all 5 watts each, that's 50 watts, right? You always want to size your transformer approximately 20% larger. So if you need 50 watts, you want to choose a transformer that's at least 60 watts plus. If you're getting into lights where you're 20 lights or more, for this project we have, I think just over 40 lights. So obviously we need a little more power. So we're using 2 transformers, more because we want to control it differently, but we could easily fit all those on here. And a couple things to keep in mind. So a lot of times guys get worried about voltage drop. Can it handle it and stuff? If you see the transformer that we have here, it's actually got a 15 volt tap. So it's got a common tap and a 15 volt tap. So when you bring your wires back, one's going to go into the common, one's going to go into the 15 volt. The reason we're using a 15 volt tap on this, even though our lights are only 12 volts, is because there will be some voltage drop down the line. But because it's LED, I can tell you pretty confidently that you can put 20 lights on a line and run them 300 feet out and not have to worry about any kind of voltage drop, because the bulbs in any good quality fixture is designed to run with only 9 volts of power without losing any output. So any good light, you really don't have to worry about voltage drop. But if you're getting more than 20 lights, something you might want to consider what you could do and still run them off this transformer. So say you have 40 lights and the average wattage is, say you got 10 path lights or 2 watts each, so that's 20, and then the rest are all up lights and whatever that number is. But say it's under 150 watts for those lights. What you could do if you don't want to worry about voltage drop is you can actually run 2 lines from the same tap. So maybe put 20 lights on one line going out this way, and then you can take your other 20 lights and you can put them on the same line, and you just put both wires in. So you have 2 wires going into the common, 2 going into the the 15 volt tap, and then you don't have to worry about voltage drop. I mean, until you're starting to put 30 plus lights on a line, which you're usually not going to do, because if you're running them that far out, you're probably going to have a separate transformer anyway. So I hope that kind of helps explain it. That's why we use just a little bit beefier transformer in some of our kits, is because we just want to make sure that you're not going to have to worry about voltage drop. But I'll tell you, after doing this for the last 5 years, it's never come up. It's never been an issue, because the quality of the bulbs run at such a low output. The transformers are built to last, so it's not something you need to really worry about. When you're mounting your transformer, we usually try and do it on a 4x4 post like this, rather than mounting it on the house, just because if you ever need to move it or whatever, it's there. And I don't like screwing holes in the side of houses if I don't have to. And basically, you don't have to hardwire these in or anything. They basically just plug into your GFCI receptacle. And I would recommend, if you don't have something like this that's got a watertight cover on it, get something so that you can plug it in and still keep this closed to keep the water out. And then something else cool we do is, if you look at this transformer, it doesn't have a timer, it doesn't have a photocell or anything on it. It has options for that. But what we do instead a lot of the times is we'll actually use this. It's a Weon smart plug. They're probably 40 bucks. We throw them in all our kits. You can go get these at Home Depot. And what you can do now is, instead of plugging directly into the GFCI, you plug this into here, and then you plug your transformer into the Weon smart outlet, and then you can control it from a simple Weon app that sets up in 3 easy steps, and you can run your lights from anywhere in the world, as well as it has a bunch of different timer options. You can have it turn on and off with dawn and dusk. You can set different timer options. You can just turn it on with the push of a button. So it's a really economical way to make your system Wi-Fi. It talks with Amazon Alexa, so you can control your lights with voice. It's just a really cool upgrade that we throw in all our kits, and that you can use if you are putting in a system. It'll just give you a little bit more functionality. So hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit more info on how to size your transformer. Now we're going to test all our lights, make sure they work, and go around and just check some final adjustments before we come back at night, see how it looks, and then bury the wire tomorrow. Hey guys, we just wrapped up our project here in Nanaimo last night. We went back yesterday after we had seen it the first night. We made sure all the lights were where we wanted. We did end up removing a couple and replacing a couple in some different areas. That's why I always suggest going back at night, because you never know what it's gonna look like until you can see it at night. So we went and did that, and yesterday we just buried all the wire, cleaned everything up, hooked up the transformers to our Wi-Fi timers, and we're all set to go. So I mean, like any of our projects, it's always best to go back and look at night. And when I talk in our videos, we always use the best quality products. So that's why when you go on our website and you see that stuff, you know that's the stuff that that we put in ourselves. We're based out of Calgary. Nanaimo is 12 hours plus a ferry ride away, so I want to make sure whatever I'm putting in the ground is going to last, and it's going to be there for a long time, so I don't have to make that trip back a whole bunch. So if it's good enough for us, then hopefully it's good enough for you. So go check out our website. You can, now we have a try it before you buy it offer, where you can buy one light at a discounted rate. If you like it, great, you keep it at that discounted rate and you can get whatever kits you want. If you don't like it, you send it back to us and you get a full refund. But we believe in these lights so much, and know that you're going to be impressed with the quality. And again, as always, if you have questions and you want to consult on your property before you decide to go and put in some lights, then please do email me at cal@lightingdoctor.ca and send your questions and your comments either below this video or email them to me directly. And I look forward to seeing you on the next project. Thanks, guys.